We're back with Nashville SC head coach Callaghan. Coach, club's coming off its first victory of the season, heading to Philadelphia to face a Union team that's first in the league, leads the league in scoring. How's training gone so far this week, and what do you expect to see Sunday from Philly?
Yeah, I think obviously getting the win at home in front of the fans in Geodis was a good step forward for us. After I think we put in two good performances, to start the season, and then to be rewarded with a win was a good way to build some positive momentum into this week. Training so far has been sharp, understanding that we're going up against a team that's first place in the East, deservedly so. A team that plays with great energy. And we expect a highly competitive game for sure.
Thanks, Coach. We'll start in the room with Ben, and go ahead if you have to ask him.
BJ, just obviously going back to Philly, where you're from and spent a long time with the organization. I know you're focused on getting a result and helping the team, but have you thought at all about just personally what it will be like for you and maybe what it means?
I think about it because I get a lot of text messages from people from Philadelphia. But yeah, I mean, listen, it was a space that myself and my family spent 20 years in and around the city. It was a team that I was a fan of before I was a professional soccer coach. And it's a club that I would say gave me my first opportunity. So you're always going to have those moments, but it'll just be nice to see people that kind of supported you along the way when you were working your way through the I would say the kind of the coaching pathway. You kind of do it behind a lot of people, and it would be nice to see those people and sort of give them an opportunity for me to say thank you.
And then I think it was just yesterday that it got announced Andy is going to the Honduran national team. Obviously, he's played a pretty important role for you guys, even aside from the goal that he scored. How does his absence maybe impact you guys? And kind of as a part two to that, do you expect Julian to be able to participate, or is he still kind of looking back?
Are you alluding that Andy's not playing this weekend?
I thought he was called up for the 16th.
I think he's going to play for us. I think the official window opens on the 17th.
Gotcha.
So don't quote me on that, but my understanding is that he'll play and then leave after the Philadelphia game. But again, I would say in terms of the call up for any of the players that get called up, it's a great honor to represent your country. But it's also a great honor for Nashville. I think team success breeds individual accolades, and the more successful we are as a team, the more we hope individual accomplishments, whether it's the national team or teams of the week or recognition for the individuals comes, and it's something that we wish all of our guys that are going to leave and play for the national teams to do well.
Go ahead, Clay.
PJ, we were just talking to Jack. He said how important it's been for him and for the team itself, the fact that you put up so much pressure up the field against other teams. Is Philadelphia one of those teams in which you have to actually stress even more in terms of keeping them away from your own goal as much as possible?
Yeah, I think a team that's scored 9 goals or something, you need to. They're obviously very dangerous, and not only is it how many goals they score, but the goal scoring chances that they create through all phases of play is something that we need to be mindful of. So yeah, of course we're going to have to try and get pressure to them and deny sort of I would say like the supply chain of how they create scoring chances, but but it's going to be a great challenge for us, and I think we're up for it.
Now, in terms of maybe not going into much detail, but in terms of Nashville, what you guys bring to the table that maybe they haven't faced yet, even though they scored so many goals and their 3 wins on the season? I'm talking about Philadelphia.
Yeah, again, I think we're a team that when we're with the ball, we're trying to find ways to disorganize and unbalance the team. So for us, we want to go out and still be ourselves no matter who we play. And if that's if the opportunity, I think again you saw in the Portland game, there was an opportunity to control the build-up, attract the opponent, try to find space behind. And so I think for us it's just about continuing to do what we do and get better at it. There's still things that we take away from the Portland game that we can improve, and that's what we want to see in the next week. And we're only going into the 4th week of a long season, so each week is just kind of an opportunity to get challenged in a different way about what we want to do and continue to kind of get better from that.
We'll go to the Zoom, and same as before, go ahead and ask 2 questions if you have them. We'll start with Jacob and then go to Willard.
Yeah, BJ, I guess is it any different for you preparing for a Sunday 1 p.m. game on the road than it would be just for a normal night game?
I wouldn't say the day of the week is any different. We schedule our weeks to have the same type of preparation lead into each match that we can. Certainly in an afternoon game, I think your game day preparation changes a little bit. You can't eat 4 meals and and those type of things. So we've actually had the opportunity to do that a little bit when we went to Austin. It wasn't I don't think it was at 1 o'clock. I think it was at 2 o'clock. So not much different, but yeah, there's certainly adjustments that we're going to make that we kind of learned from Austin to help us in our game day preparation. But in the week leading up, we always have, we're able to schedule that we have the same type of I would call lead in, regardless if it's a Saturday or Sunday.
And it seems like you're starting to get a little bit healthier as you get into the season. Gaston Brugman made his debut last week, and you're getting players out there. I'm curious, do you treat injuries at this point in the season any differently than you would maybe during mid-season or late in the season in terms of playing it safe or just like making sure guys are ready to go?
I think injuries they're probably handled on an individual basis based upon what type of injury and the severity of it. But you certainly don't want to have moments where you get re-injured, and now you're starting to have guys lose multiple weeks on due to the same injury. So for us, we're going to make sure that when we bring guys back, they're in the best spot possible. I mean, I think we have great confidence and a really good plan with our high performance department that and good communication with the player, the coaching staff, and that group to do that. So I think when we bring guys back, we're confident that they can play at the level that they want to play. Would be the best way to say it.
Go ahead, Blair.
BJ, you had a couple different penalty takers last game. I'm just curious, is this something that you or the coaching staff decides, or is it something the players decide on there? And are there any changes to that process going forward?
It's something that we've decided as a team before the games. So we know that Hani's our primary and Sam is our secondary, and we don't expect any changes to that.
And then Philly play not the same style, but similar style to the Red Bulls, one would say. And have you taken anything from the Red Bull game that maybe tweak a couple things towards the Philly game to make it, to make things easier for you guys?
I mean, I think it's fair to say we take something away from every game. Each team kind of is always going to present a different challenge, whether it's the individual player matchups or the tactical matchups. So, the same way we took something from the Red Bull game, from the New England game into Red Bull into Portland, I would say that we're going to take learning lessons from all three of those and try to apply some different things that we see Philadelphia does well and how we have to sort of counteract it. But yeah, I mean, it's a constant learning cycle that we have here and part of our process.
Right. Thanks everyone for joining. Today is match day -3 actually in media availability ahead of the club's match Sunday versus Philadelphia, joined by defender Jack Maher. Jack coming off first win, heading into a match against the league's top offense. The club's actually conceded the second fewest goals in the conference so far this year. What do you expect to see from Philly, and how's training gone so far this week?
Yeah, we expect to see a good team. We expect to see a team that's going to be flying out of the gate like they have been. They're kind of clicking on all cylinders right now early on, and that's something you see pretty rarely this early in the year. And so, but we feel confident. I think that's the big thing, that coming off a good win, and I think that you guys and everybody else can tell that we're moving in the right direction. We're finding our identity, and just our counter press has been really, really good, and that's just areas that we've worked on all preseason, and I'm looking forward to the game.
Great, thanks. We'll start with Ben.
Yeah, Jack, 2 clean sheets from 3 games. I know obviously you guys wanted to get more from the Red Bulls game, but overall, how do you feel like the defense has kind of clicked so far this year?
Yeah, I think the defense has been really, really good. Are we perfect? No. We would like to have 3 clean sheets. So I think that's something that in soccer we're always striving for more, but I think that something that all of us would say in the back line is how much work that our 2 6s have done in every single game. It doesn't matter if it was some of the young guys or Eddie and Pat that were with us last game, I think that their work should not go unnoticed because they are putting in miles and miles and miles for us, and they allow us to play as high as we do because they're able to cover the ground that they can.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and then you kind of mentioned the counter pressing. It does feel like every game you've kind of added stuff. Even in the second half of the Red Bulls game, it felt like you guys were moving the ball better, and then it all kind of came together against Portland. Do you feel like there's kind of a clear trajectory from the first 3 games?
Absolutely. I think it's pretty apparent that a lot of people can see it, and I sort of feel the buzz. I sort of feel the belief that, we were in video the other day, and it was after the Red Bull game, and Alex Muil comes up and is like, you know what, guys, like, we unfortunately lost the game, but just double down on what we're doing because we believe in the process, and we believe that if we stick to our principles and values and everything that we've been working on and this coaching staff has been implementing, that we are going to take strides in the right direction. I think it was ever apparent in that Portland game.
Claudio?
Jack, you just mentioned that things seem to be clicking different, especially in defense at this point. Now, it's not that the effort wasn't there last season, of course not. But what makes a difference? What has made a difference in terms of how you see things going forward now than before?
Yeah, I think that we've put a lot of time in just sort of what our shape looks like whenever we have the ball. That's something that in the past we didn't spend probably nearly enough time on, that now everybody knows where to go whenever we have a team pin now. And so that is sort of something that we've been working on all of preseason, that once we get the ball in that final third area, everybody's in positions that we're going to be pinning teams in. And I think that that's going to be something that from sort of the start of the season and as we go throughout the whole entire season, that is going to be ever apparent that we are figuring out how to be like front foot defending whenever we have the ball. And I think that is where sort of it all starts, is how can we be defending not so close to our own goal and give a little more margin of error, I guess, for the back line and for everybody else.
Now, in terms of scoring, which has always been, or at least for the last few months, been a problem with the team, how do you feel that now that the team is approaching that? I mean, it seems like the opportunities are there. Maybe the scoring, the clinical scoring is not. What do you think needs to happen?
Yeah, I think that a lot of scoring, whenever we're clicking on all cylinders, I've been saying that a lot. I think that we just have this fluidity up front, that guys don't feel so stressed and don't feel under any pressure, that they're playing their best whenever they're free. And I think that that's something that once you end up seeing for our guys up top, some of the balls hit the back of the net, that just is a calming presence. And I'm not necessarily worried about it. And I think that you can even look at the defenders. You could say, hey, we haven't been scoring off set pieces. You know, it's more of a team thing than just us up top not scoring enough goals. And I think that that's something that is something that we haven't been able to execute on. And we've been putting a lot of time into it on set pieces. And I think there's some good stats saying we're getting first contact on a good number of balls. I think they're saying 8th in the league on first contact on opposing set pieces, on our own set pieces. But we just haven't been able to convert it into goals right now. So that's something that we're working on. The forwards are doing their thing. And I think once we have that calming presence, once we see the ball hit the back of the net a couple times, we're going to be flying.
Go ahead and open it up to Zoom. Go ahead and ask 2 questions if you have them. We'll start with Jacob and then go to Blair.
Yeah, Jack, you guys have placed, it seems, a lot more of an emphasis on playing the ball out of the back, since PJ Callaghan came in this season especially. How is that different for you, and I guess what have you had to do to maybe adapt to that style of play?
Yeah, so that's actually a style of play that I like playing. Like, that is what I enjoy the most. It's just interesting whenever you have different coaches come, the style of play is always a little different, and there was areas, even with Gary, that I didn't feel like it was my style. But that's something, as we evolve as players, you just sort of have to live and learn with it. And so I think that, just getting back to the question, being able to build out of the back is something that I know I'm comfortable with, Walker's comfortable with, Joe's comfortable with, both of our outside backs are extremely comfortable with, and I think it was something that we're committed to. In the past, we would lose the ball once or twice in the back, and we would get a little shaky. We would end up hitting the ball long, and that would just be our safety net. But BJ's been giving us the confidence to play out of the back. BJ's been giving us the confidence to trust in yourself. And I think whenever we got a group of significantly younger guys, that trust is just so important, that you have the coach's belief that we're doing the right things, and even if we mess up, that's our identity, and we're sticking to it.
And you mentioned, a lot of younger guys coming in. You're now in your 6th year with Nashville, but you're still only 26, I think. I guess, do you still feel like one of the younger guys on the team, or do you feel more like a veteran because of your time on the team and your experience?
No, it's pretty funny. Luckily, I'm 25, but good question nonetheless. It's funny. So we normally play these games, just a bunch of small-sided games, old v young. It's a big competition amongst the guys. And for my first 3 years, I was actually the youngest guy on the team. And so I was like the captain of the young guys for a long time. And then now this is my first year that I'm sort of in the tweener phase, where I'm in between the old and young. And it seems like I'm betraying the young guys a little bit, but honestly, I think that just being at this club, being in the organization for 6 years has given me just a stage and a little bit of a platform to help the younger guys grow and become the players that we know they can be. And I think that's one thing that I enjoy a lot of the younger guys coming in, because I'm able to relate to them on different levels. I got a bunch of friends off the field as well that I go and go to dinners and stuff like that with, that in the past it wasn't as much of that. And I think that's that culture aspect. I know it's a buzzword, but that's all pretty important as well.
Go ahead, Blair.
Yeah, Jack, last season was obviously a tough one, not just for you personally, but the team in general. So I'm just curious, was there anything special preparation-wise you did before this season, mentally or physically, that's different from previous seasons you've had?
Yeah, I think that this preseason and really the off season in particular, because as we know, there's really not an off season, is that we had a bunch of guys that stayed here in Nashville and continued to work out at the facility. I think that more this year than ever before, there were guys that were committed in the off season to get better, because we know that last season was just blatantly unacceptable. And I think that that's something that it's just one little thing, but at the end of the day, that's a good commitment, and that should be the standard here on out.
And then in terms of, you already mentioned it, you kind of touched on it, the counter pressing, and that's taken place higher up the pitch this year. It's very obvious. Are you noticing the benefits of maybe not defending less, but those battles not being as close to you as previously?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I mentioned it a little early, but it's just a little bit bigger of a margin of error. And when you are defending and going into tackles 80 yards from goal, it's significantly different from going into a 50-50 duel when you're in your box. And I think that is just something that defensively certainly helps us, but you got to think of the attacking side as well. If we're able to, it was just like Eddie before we scored our first goal with Andy. Eddie was an absolute beast. He won the ball, I think, 3 times in the span of a minute and a half. And it just led straight to the goal. He got the assist, and he was so important in that first goal and really getting us a good win against Portland.
Great, thanks, Jack. Thank you, guys. We'll be back
Awesome.
shortly
Thanks, guys.
with
Appreciate
PJ.
it.
Yes, Chris got me good, brother. No, I think it's too gonna love that name, by the way. Maybe too. It's just for design. Mate, I've used my pup on that. I think I will do show me. Alright, boys, down here.